Hello and welcome back to St. Peter's Church here in Rome, New York. If you haven't visited us before, my name is Father Sean O'Brien. I'm the pastor, and I work here in cooperation with Father Bernie Menard, our parochial vicar, and Deacon Nick Rozier. For those of you who have joined us before, you might recognize a new resident here at the rectory at St. Peter's. This is Franz Joseph. Franz Joseph is a 7-year-old male, well, up until last week he was a male, that's why the cone, male Weimaraner, and he's been here now 9 weeks. We adopted him about 9 weeks ago. Abigail, my last Weimaraner, died at 14 and a half years old last year. We waited about a year to see how things go, and I thought it might be time to bring another four-legged friend into the house. Before I talk to you about Hope Appeal, which is going to be our main topic, I'd like to talk to you about generosity. Since I've lived in Rome, and it'll be 3 years now this month, since I've lived in Rome, the generosity of the people of Rome, Floyd, and the surrounding areas never ceases to amaze me. About a month ago, I was out for a walk. There's a beautiful old house up the street, and a family was cleaning the house out. I've always admired the house from the outside, and I asked them if I could please have a tour of the inside. They were more than happy to accommodate. Wonderful architecture in this house that was built in the 1820s here in the city of Rome. I learned that the family, Matt and Maureen Murphy, were cleaning the house out for one of their elder relatives. In the house, there were things that were originally from St. Peter's Church. It seems that the person who owned the house used to play the organ here at St. Peter's back in the 40s and 50s, and that she was very good friends, she and her husband, with the pastor here at that time. When the church was renovated at that time, some of the furniture was given to this family. Thanks to the generosity of the Murphys, they have regifted back the chairs that belong in the sanctuary for the altar servers and for the priest. These chairs are at a local upholstery shop now, getting redone, and once they're redone, will be put back into service during our Divine Liturgy so that they can be, once again, used for what they were intended to be used for. They're the original chairs from when this church was built. They also donated, back to St. Peter's, a beautiful mantel clock and a lovely small table where a lamp is right now here in the parlor to make this parlor more warm and inviting as people come to talk to Father Bernie or to myself for counseling or for whatever else. So I want to thank the Murphy family, and I want to thank all of the people at St. Peter's Church. Such generous, kind, and caring people. Now I'd like to talk to you about Hope Appeal. If you're watching from outside the diocese, it's generally known as the Bishop's Fund, and some dioceses have different names for it. Ours is called the Hope Appeal. Bringing light, the light of Christ, into the lives of others. This year, our bishop, Bishop Lucia, used the image of a lantern, and I picked up on that as I listened to him talk to the pastors a few weeks ago. My family and I own a small camp up in Remsen, New York, and in the barn there's an old lantern that I use. I know it's 2022 and I could use a flashlight, but when I walk through the woods at night, going down to the dock to take a boat ride out and enjoy the stars and the moon, it's very dark. Instead of using a flashlight, I actually use this lantern. I've put battery lights in here now for fire safety reasons, but I use this lantern as I walk through this dark path that goes down through the woods and leads me to the open shores of Cayuta Lake. Our place is in an area where no cottages are built on the water. Everybody is upland, so it's very dark. That's the image. Bringing the light of Christ into the lives of others who find their lives or life around them very dark at this time. Some can see the light, but they feel it dimming. Others have a hard time seeing any light at all. Hope Appeal brings hope to so many in our diocese through education, Catholic schools, as well as faith formation for public school kids, through the various offices and services of Catholic Charities, through food pantries, and the other good and charitable works that the Catholic Church does in this community. Our goal this year at St. Peter's is $67,000. That's a lot of money. And it seems to me to be even more than $67,000 ever used to be, with fuel bills going up, home heating expenses going up, property taxes going up. And I know, as I mentioned, my family and I own a camp, and we have property taxes, I have school taxes, I have an energy bill, and pretty soon I'm going to have to add heat to that energy bill. So I know it isn't easy right now. And yet I'm reminded of the story of the widow's mite. When so many gave from their surplus into the coffers of the synagogue as Jesus and his disciples looked on, this one poor widow approached and dropped in 2 copper coins. They gave from their surplus. She gave from her want. No matter how hard things are, not just seem to be, but in fact are, we can all afford on some level to give, to support the hope appeal, to bring light to those in darkness, to bring the light of Christ to those who have a hard time seeing Christ's light and Christ's love anywhere. And so I would ask you to please be generous this year, as generous as you can be. First, I would ask you to pray for the success of the Hope Appeal. Secondly, to pray over how much you can afford, and we can all afford something. And then thirdly, to please donate. When you make your check out, you can send it directly to the diocese, or you can send it here to St. Peter's. But make your check out to the Hope Appeal. And then in the memo, put St. Peter's Church. That way, your donation will be credited toward this church. Any money that goes over our goal, if we go over our goal, any money that goes over our goal is given back to the church 100%. That overage, if there is any, and no matter how small it may be, can be used for the upkeep of the church. It'll be put into our historical fund. From there, we've already repaired the leather doors near the entrance of the church, original leather doors from 1897. We have those chairs to upholster, painting to do, not a lot, but spot painting here and there. You know how it is, even with your home. If you're not from our diocese, and your diocese is running its bishop's campaign or bishop's fund, please be generous with your diocese. Send your check in, and be sure to put your home parish in the memo, so that your pastor and his staff can use any overage that may come to continue to improve your church and the church property. I appreciate your consideration, and I appreciate your generosity. All of us are called to serve our brothers and sisters. Some of us can support them through our surplus. Some of us can support them in our want. But we can all support those who need the light of Christ. And so be that lantern. Be that lantern that carries the light of Christ, into our brothers and sisters. Thank you. And until next time, which will probably be in a month or so, please keep Father Bernie and Deacon Nick and myself in your prayers. And please know that we are praying for you. God bless.